Okay, another nice game in the archive. Here we go. So I was playing white against this person. Um, open with c4, counters with king pawn, back up with the knight, all book stuff. e4, bishop, knight to get it, preparing the castle. Both sides preparing the castle. Quick exchange. I fianchetto the bishop to have a little more king safety, which is just a fancy term for tucking away the bishop in this structure. Castle. Knight comes in. Says it was a good move. I think it's premature for the knight to come in, but that's fine. I supplement the e4 pawn. I'd throw out the f2, f4 with the idea of challenging the center or pushing the pawn to just be a pain on the f-file. Interesting response. It's probably a good move, challenging the e-pawn, and it's kind of symmetrical over here. Basically, both sides vying for control of the center. Okay, now I'm trying to attack the knight, and my goal is to put my queen on d2 so that I have both queen and bishop working the dark squares, but he retreats back, so I do it anyway. Takes back. Here, interesting move. I guess if I do queen here, check, he's just saving time by moving out of the way and adding some king safety. So now I'm doubling up here in case things get open over here. I'd like to be able to maybe win a pawn. Moves over there, interesting. He's here. We're vying for control for this square, so I think I try to take that off. Not quite yet. Okay, I want to protect this pawn. Comes down, and now I take it off. I want to double the pawns and ruin or at least make black's pawn structure over here a little more, disrupt it, let's call it. So now the pawns are doubled. Okay, knight straight up in the center. Want to attack the bishop. Then there's a very strong outpost, even though this piece is this pawn's protected. I'm trying to overwork the pieces. Takes back. This is an interesting move here. I do rook takes, and he pins the rook. And for a second, it looks obvious why he did it, because it looks like bishop's going to win the pawn for the no, bishop's going to win the rook because it's pinned against the queen. But what he's missing is rook takes rook is check, so he doesn't win anything. So watch what happens here in this sequence. Takes with check. He's forced to defend, and then it's free bishop for me. Now, this is interesting. Perhaps coming back to go to this f7 square and kick me out. So I steal a pawn and attack the rook. Comes over to further support this piece. I bring the knight back. Here it's check, but it's just an exchange. So he wins a pawn, but now his queen's coming down here. And it looks like, okay, queen takes rook, and and I just lose, but I just move the rook over to kick him out. So a little bit of greed sets in, and he takes the queen takes the e4 pawn, which is okay. So now I'm asking a question: what do you want to do? Okay, there's a check. I move up. There's another check. I move up. And here, showing it as a blunder, I was pretty sure there was going to be another check here. And probably what that sequence would have led to is perhaps a three-move repetition draw. But he steals the pawn, which is a bad way to go. So now I move this here with the idea that you know, I could sacrifice the queen, which would win the game, because then rook takes rook, and the piece is trapped. Or it's showing the move I made, which was eventually, I think, the knight over there. So he sees the double attack here and doesn't want to get checkmated, so opens up a line of prophylactic pawn moves so that it's not checkmate. But this is a very interesting move I did here. It's kind of a swindle. If pawn takes knight, the checks become a big problem and black. I didn't calculate it out, but black, you know, with queen check on this square, there's a lot of problems here, and I can win this pawn, and perhaps it's checkmate between the rook and the knight. Other than that, this move really shocked me because the knight is still supporting a checkmate. So, bink, and that's mate. The knight, even though you can capture it, is supporting the queen, which leads to checkmate. So, a bit of a swindle, although I think I was winning significantly. The white bar shows I was up, even if you go back a few moves. Yeah, it even says mate in 11 over here. Let's go back. So even at this point, I'm up 6.5 pawns according to the chess.com engine. So things were pretty handily in my control at that point. So that's how it ended. Another good game in Hodge City, and thanks for listening.